So that first thing he wakes up at 4:30, he'll see my WhatsApp message. So my note was ready because I was in the field. He read it and then we escalated it. We spoke about it with an NDA. So we have an opinion, absolutely. Do we protect the interests of our Telugu people? Absolutely, no second thoughts. That's what we stand for. But we will voice our opinion in the four walls. Within the four walls.
So you say you voice opinion in the four walls. Now the four walls of that coalition arrangement have changed from the time that your father lent outside support to the Vajpayee government. Now with you have two ministers in the Modi government. But the difference is that in that government, there were coordination mechanisms. They were institutionalized, the to and fro with allies. There were allies in charge of committees, at the head of committees. Today, no such thing exists. Today, the interaction is leader-centric. It is not collegial the way it was. It is one-on-one with parties. So, don't you think that puts regional allies like you and even JDU and others at a disadvantage?
I absolutely disagree with that narrative. Because whenever we wanted to voice an opinion on any subject, the doors are always open. Whenever we wanted reforms to come in certain sectors, which is in the interest of the state, and of course, Andhra gets the first mover advantage, our opinion was always heard. And things were changed when we were able to sell. See, end of the day, as a regional party, it's important that I might have a vision. It's important also I go and sell that vision to leaders who matter, who take this decision. So I'll give you an example. Our conversation with Google started about before the shoveling 13 months back. And they wanted certain corrections in permanent establishment, taxation. And Naiduji went and spoke to Modi ji very clearly and said, this is what we think we should do. He said, absolutely. And then it was his office that led those reforms. So honestly, I as a regional party, I truly believe that our voice is being heard. And we've had no such issues in this current NDA.
How regular is your interaction with the BJP in the NDA?
As much as we need it.
There is no regularity in terms of...
See, politics will not wait. Issues will not wait for an official meeting to be convened 15 days from now or a month from now. If I have an issue, I pick up the phone, I call the Honorable Minister, the subject, and rest assured, either they answer the phone or they call back within the hour. And say, Yaar, what's the issue, anything? I say, boss, this is what we want to do, this is what. Done, let's have a meeting. I'll call for send the note before you come. We send the note, we have a meeting, and we close the subject. That's how we work. This is what we call real-time governance.
No, so to get back to you, let's get back to you. So, in your trajectory, there have been these moments, these aha moments, if you will. You've spoken about this, that you entered a room full of 5,000 people when you were, I think, 21, and your father was out of power, and everybody stood up and clapped for him. And that was a moment you felt that you wanted to be a politician. Then there was another moment that you have spoken about, which is when you lost your election and then fought back and came back with a record majority. Another moment is when your father was arrested. And but the moment that you talk about the most is your Padyatra. You have often spoken about the fact that Padyatra made somebody who was a Stanford MBA into a full-time politician. So tell us more about the Padyatra, also because given your other emphases and interests, which is, AI hubs, quantum computing, digital governance, e-governance, how does the Padyatra sit with that, and how necessary is the Padyatra in the time of AI?
Many of you don't know, but I've always chosen the road less traveled. So if you look at it, I contested from a constituency that my party did not win since 1985. I lost in 2019. 5 years I didn't leave my constituency. I was very clear that I didn't have enough of time to convince my voters about my capacity and capabilities. And 5 years later, I won that constituency with 91,000 majority, which was the third highest ever in Andhra history. Ironically, all the three majorities happened in this election, the three highest majorities. But saying that, again, I chose HRD. Not many people choose education or HRD, but I was so passionate about it, I believe change should happen. So imagine I'm handling teacher unions, teacher recruitment, which is mirrored historically with controversy, and we've done it so well. So that's the trajectory I've always chosen. And Padyatra, I truly believe, was very important for me to understand Bharat. So when, in the previous term also of Mr. Naidu, in his third cabinet, I was a minister. So when an MLA would come and explain to me about a certain issue, my ability to connect with that issue would be limited. But post the Padyatra, because I walked in his constituency, I heard the people, I spent 2-3 nights there, my ability to relate to that issue 100% exists. A lot more. So as I keep saying, Stanford MBA was fantastic for business, Padyatra was great for politics. Because I got to know. You know, the IQ bit I got from Stanford, the EQ bit I got from Padyatra. So it was very important to connect. And that's when I realized that if an issue comes to me, via WhatsApp or any other mechanism, that means the issue has already boiled over, is my theory. So the pace at which I need to respond should be much, much, much faster. So this is what my Padyatra taught me. And, you know, politics is a very interesting space. When you're in power, you tend to get carried away. And that happens with everyone. So for me, Padyatra, I have a coffee table book. Thanks to my wife Brahmini, who really curated it and put it together. I actually go back to it. And I whenever I get time...
The coffee table book is on the Padyatra.
On the Padyatra. I have a coffee table book. And only way you get it is if I give it to you. You can't get it anywhere else. It's not up for sale, but I reflected. It's a very emotional thing for me, because that's how I reflect back. Or whenever I feel tired after a long day, I look back and say, I've been sitting in an AC room all day, doing from presentation to presentation. I have no reason to be tired because I walked. There were days when I walked 24 kilometers in Andhra heat, which is quite grueling. But I did it, and it created that sense of connection. And that's where I believe, I reflect back on my Padyatra. When I take my decisions, I look back on my Padyatra. And I continue to talk about my Padyatra. You know, a few other politicians who did Padyatra don't seem to remember that they did a Padyatra or even connect with it. But I connect back, I go back. When they talk about an irrigation project, it's like aha moment. Yes, I remember this. So this is the connection that it has enabled me to have with my people, with people of Andhra Pradesh.
So one thing you did during the Padyatra was you held up a little red book. It's a personal diary in which it is believed that you have names of officials, police officials, YSRCP leaders, and other administration, personnel during the time that Jagan was in power, and you believe that excesses were committed against TDP and TDP cadres. So now there were recently some custodial deaths, and the opposition has said that this is an example of red book governance, that there is a kind of vendetta politics that you are indulging in, or your government is indulging in. And your Mahanadu, the TDP's annual conclave was held in May, and there was a lot of talk about the destructive governance during the Jagan period. So, the red book, the custodial deaths, the what is it called? The Godali, you call it the axe culture.
Axe party.
Yes, the axe party.
We fondly call YCP an axe party.
So it all seems, if you look at all these, that there is a lot of bitterness and hard divide between, government and opposition. You are young, you are open, you are moving ahead. Why do you think this bitterness, why would you want to carry this bitterness with you?
I absolutely have no bitterness, number one. Number two, I have seen the political system since my birth. So, people blessing, God willing, I was born 14 days or a little bit more after NTRG became CM. I have seen how the cadre works. Because you're brought up in that ecosystem, you see it day in, day out, you hear. I've seen how IAS officers work. I've seen how IPS officers work. For the first time between 19 and 24, I've seen an institutional collapse. Now let me explain it a bit further. They foisted 23 cases against me. 23. Including an attempt to murder case. An SC/ST atrocities case against me. If I don't put a stop to this, and if I don't take the people to task who broke the law, then where is the end to this? Isn't that why we are elected, to uphold the Constitution? If you look at it, please go back and search on YouTube. Between 2019 and 2024, there were days where Mr. Naidu was not allowed to leave from his house, step out of his house, because police would tie ropes to his gate. He was not allowed to go. But today Jagan is happily going anywhere he wants. We don't stop him. Let's be very clear about it. The fundamental rights that the Constitution of India provides is being upheld by the NDA government. No second thoughts about it. Number one. Number two. Was there a custodial death? Yes, there was. It's a fact. It's known. What have we done? We have taken action. There's a murder case foisted. We have put a murder case against the person who's done it. And he's going to face the music of the law. Did Jagan do the same thing when he was in power? No. When our Karyakarta was killed, there's a video where he was beheaded. No action. When Dalits were killed, no action. So if I correct that, how is it wrong? That's something someone needs to explain to me. Did I talk about the Red Book? Absolutely. In every public meeting I would hold up and explain to people that people who broke the law will be brought to justice. If I really believe in vendetta politics, would Jagan be outside? But we don't believe in it. Mr. Naidu never believes in it. Telugu Desam Party, historically, and we are not a new political establishment. We've been around now for 44 years. We've never done it. This is not something we don't stand for. But people who committed a crime, who broke the law, will have to face the music by law. And it's nothing personal from me.
You're the face of your state's investment push, and you've had major successes. You know, you brought Google. It has committed, I think, its largest tranche outside the US. But there are questions, there are controversies, there are questions about land acquisition, about environmental concerns, because, you know, all these data centers, the amount of energy and water that they will require. There are concerns that environmental clearances have been given in haste, or that the state is giving too many subsidies to these companies. So how would you address those questions?
If you look at it, data is the new oil and data centers are the new refineries. The quicker we accept it, the closer we'll be to reality. See, all our phones are now powered by data centers. So do you stop using them? And now let's talk about a few numbers. 3,000 TMC. Just keep this in mind. 3,000 TMC of water from Godavari goes into the sea every year. 3,000 TMC is more than the annual consumption of water in Brazil. More than in Vietnam. 6 gigawatt of data center capacity that we want to build in Andhra would require about 1.5 to 2 TMC. 1.5 to 2 TMC. So what's the context? I'll give you one more fact. A thermal power plant, 1 gigawatt thermal power plant consumes 7 times more water than a 1 gigawatt data center. But everyone sees power as a necessity, so it's okay. So where are these coming from? If you look at it, we believe as a nation, we have one nation, one grid that enables us to wheel our renewable energy across the state. Today, Andhra Pradesh has solar, wind, pump storage, hydro projects. That's what makes us very different. So there's so much of renewable energy that I can give the data centers. Why not? And the kind of jobs that it will create. So the question I get asked is, will data centers alone create jobs? I believe data centers are the catalyst that create jobs. For me, it is not merely about attracting the data centers alone. I am getting everyone involved in the ecosystem come to Andhra Pradesh. I'll give you one interesting company, Carrier. Carrier Air Conditioning set up a shop in Andhra Pradesh just because so much of data center investment is happening, because they need all the air conditioning for the data centers. A simple number. Power electronics, server, the blade servers, the racks, the whole 9 yards. That is what we have built. We are building the entire ecosystem that will create jobs. Now coming to incentives, as a state, should I compete with other states? Absolutely. Otherwise, if we don't create jobs, what are we even discussing as a nation? The single task with which we are working in Andhra Pradesh is creating jobs. You believe we did things in haste? I call it speed of doing business. If a steel project gets stuck in a neighboring state for decades and I am able to close it in 17 months, will you call it haste or will you call it speed of doing business? If AMCA, Advanced Combat Aircraft, Multi-Combat Aircraft of India, which is going to now get tendered out and soon it will get manufactured in Andhra Pradesh, we got it done in 37 days. 37 days. Raksha Mantri said first letter to 600 acres being allocated to Government of India at zero cost. We didn't even take a penny. We did it. Raksha Mantri came, laid foundation. Will you call it haste or speed of doing business? I call it speed of doing business. This is the way we work in Andhra. There are few partners, friends here who are from, who have made investments in Andhra. Please ask them at the speed at which we are working. We have to create jobs. Am I giving incentives? Absolutely. I call it the first mover advantage. Early bird incentive. And am I going to reduce incentives as I go? Absolutely. But then, if I'm going to say I will not give incentive, I will not give land, I won't give power, I won't give water, then how will I create jobs, boss? I'll give you an example of this. There is a policy called LIFT policy in Andhra Pradesh. So this is where top tier Fortune 500 companies, if they want to set up their GCC, will be given land at 99 paise. You heard me right, 99 paise. That one policy, I got cognizant. TCS, Infosys, IBM, few more are going to come soon. My theory is very simple. Okay, I can mark that land value to the market and say it's going to cost X amount of money. So you pay me that money. Versus me giving it at 99 paise and pushing them to finish their campus, create the jobs. Those jobs that they're going to create, the economic impact that they're going to create, the tax that they're going to give to the state, they're going to repay my entire land price every year. So for all the businessmen here, my IRR on that investment is 100%. But you need leaders to take that bold decision. Otherwise, how will India move? Someone has to explain this to me otherwise. If we get so protective and we are not willing to put our neck out and say, this is what India needs, this is the kind of change we need to. We did it, we got it done. And I had to fight for the policy. Even my chief minister didn't believe in that policy. I, as an IT minister, had to fight. Then I realized that I'm doing single batting. So I started looking at my other ministers saying, boss, thoda support dena yaar. Luxury. 30 minutes, imagine in a cabinet meeting. And Mr. Naidu is not exactly an easy chief minister to work with. 30 minutes he was bombarding me with questions. And I stood my ground. I said, no, I believe in this policy. I said, give me one chance. You've been pushing me on one side. Give me a catalyst that will make that change. And I believe this is the catalyst. We got the policy. And the beauty is, it was challenged via a pill. And the court did not even accept it. Because they said, what's wrong? If a Fortune 500 company is coming up, Cogsy is coming up, or an IBM is coming up, and few more I can't name because it will be unfair till we officially announce it. If they are all coming, what's wrong? That's the policy of the government. So whatever we've done and we will do will always stand the test of time and politics. We will not take shortcuts. It's not favors being given to my own company or my friend's company. These are Fortune 500 gold standard companies. And I believe that's the policy revolution that we need. That's the push that India actually needs. And that's what I'm doing.
You spoke of competition between states. So between Andhra and Karnataka, it's been particularly edgy. There was the case of a recent CEO, I think, tweeting about the traffic jams and the potholes in Bangalore. And you jumped in and you said, please come to Andhra Pradesh and we will give you better city infrastructure, we'll give you better roads and safer cities for women. So you have maybe safer cities for women or better roads, better infrastructure, but it is also being said that basically you have the center on your side. You know, मेरे पास माँ है, तो मेरे पास center है, तो आप, you have that big advantage. And how it could pan out for other states like Karnataka, which does not have the center's help, is that it could deepen a skew, the industrial skew between states, and that there would be some states that would be left out and others that have the center on their side which would take advantage of that.
This is an amazing excuse that non-performing states use. If you don't perform, why are you blaming me from taking investments? If you don't lay roads, what will Government of India do? Someone needs to explain this to me. Like, you don't lay roads, you don't give 24-hour power, you charge your industrial customers 15 rupees per unit, and I as a state, I'm saying I'll compete on that, I'll do better, and then you blame because there's double engine bullet train Sarkar in Andhra, automatically things are going. Your inefficiency, boss. How can you blame me for it or blame the Honorable Prime Minister? See, the Honorable Prime Minister came up with a data center policy which applies for India. In the regulation, he didn't say this is only applicable. There's no star terms and conditions apply only in Andhra Pradesh. He didn't say that, no. He said states should compete. Why not? When states compete, India wins. It gets the best out of politicians, and I as a state will compete. And there's a lot of name calling. I said, no problem, boss. As long as we create jobs, this is all okay. This is all fair. It's fine. I understand it's hurting you, but that's okay. But is it going to stop me from attracting investments? Absolutely not. Now, is there an advantage of having double engine Sarkars? Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Because we have a voice at the table. But Andhra mein we have double engine bullet train Sarkar. Because for all of you, Namo means Narendra Modi ji. In Andhra, Namo means Naidu ji and Modi ji ka jodi. So that's what we stand for. We have two great leaders. And look at the way Naidu ji is pushing. So I'll give you an example, right? If you look at the ArcelorMittal project, so we did everything from the state side to get them. They had only one request. They said, see, transporting iron ore all the way from the mine to my plant in a truck is the most meaningless thing we can do. From a cost perspective, from an environmental perspective. So we need a slurry pipeline. All they said is we need a slurry pipeline. And if Naidu ji can put in a word to the Honorable Prime Minister, it will be fantastic. We said, absolutely, we'll do it. Naidu ji went, met the Honorable Prime Minister and explained the entire thing. He said, who gave this idea of trucking iron raw material all the way in a truck? It's meaningless. He said, this is the problem. No, we will do a slurry pipeline. It's good for the nation. No, Mr. Naidu ji had a conversation with the PM. Should other CMs do it? Absolutely. Why not? Should Karnataka CM do it? Absolutely. If they don't do it and they blame us, or they simply say that, no, everything is going to this state or that state, boss, compete. Fight for investments. Definitely they'll come to your state.
You just said Namo means Naidu and Modi. There is a certain irony in that. At one time, Mr. Naidu was seen as a prime ministerial candidate, and at one time also Nitish Kumar was seen as a prime ministerial candidate. Today, you are putting Naidu ji in Namo and Nitish Kumar is also in the NDA. Two men who were at one time seen as much larger than their states and as people who could lead at the center are now squarely within the NDA with Modi ji, under Modi ji's umbrella. Do you think there is a sense of loss in this image?
See, if Naidu ji would want to be the Prime Minister, he would have already been the Prime Minister in United Front time. He was offered the Prime Ministerial seat. He chose not to do it. He said, I have agenda cut out in my state, I need to do justice to my state. And it was not once, he was offered the Prime Ministerial role twice and he didn't accept it back then. It was very clear. And now, is our work cut out in Andhra Pradesh? Absolutely. And are we contributing to the nation? Absolutely. How are we doing it? Naidu ji was one of the important catalysts in telecom deregulation. In PPP coming into airports, he was the catalyst because he wanted to build a greenfield private airport in Hyderabad. That's how GMR took Genesis and built a world-class airport today in Hyderabad. Have we done it all over again? Absolutely. The data center policy. We've done it. So like this, we played our role in the national discourse. But Mr. Naidu ji never as an individual aspired for higher office. He said, my task is cut out. And I don't know whether you followed, he's done yesterday, I think was it yesterday? Yeah, he did yoga. And my team said, oh boy, he has another, at least 4 terms ahead of him though. Like, look at his flexibility. He was a lot more flexible than I am. So, saying that, so he has a lot of energy. And his energy is very infectious. That's what brings us all to serve under his leadership. So I think there's a lot more he can contribute at the state level. And he can show a model. See, one thing we all miss is that if India has to become Vikasit Bharat, it has to be led by the states. If it has to be led by the states, you need competent, capable leadership to lead that. So India is not going to achieve Vikasit Bharat without states powering up. And that's what Andhra is doing. We are powering up. And we are growing. We are showing the way. And that's what makes Andhra very unique.
In your family, you have 2 models of governance. NTR laid the foundations of the social welfare model. You know, there was the 2 rupee per kg rice, and I think property rights for women. He was a pioneer in that as well. And then your father became identified with, you know, the IT revolution, the building of Hyderabad into a hub, international hub for IT. How do you see this balance of both models?
I truly believe that both go hand in hand. It's very important to carry both forward. You know, if you look at it, agriculture in the West, may it be Europe or US, it's highly subsidized by the government. Look at the corn lobby, look at the soybean lobby. I'm US educated, I know it. It's massive. And here we are saying that nahi, farmers ko kuch nahi karna hai. How does it work? While their governments are protecting their farmers, and we say that nahi, it's wrong. I disagree with that. But we also have to invest in education, healthcare, infrastructure, lower cost of energy. So it's a very tight balance that governments have to do. So I've had this conversation with my leader, and you know, Andhra's GST is roughly about 4,200 to 4,500 crores a month. And there's always a fight between departments. We want more money, we want more money. So I do this before a cabinet meeting. All the cabinet colleagues of TDP, we just have we call it the breakfast. We just sit and have random conversation, no agenda, 90 minutes just on what has happened in the last 15 days, what should we correct, so on and so forth. And in the cabinet meeting, you know, I broached the subject, we are fighting for the money, that's only so much. Why don't we double that pie? Then they said, how? They said, let's ground every project that we've signed. Every project. So now I'm actively tracking 800 projects, which are medium to large. 800 projects. 25 business houses actually get a WhatsApp message from me either end of day Saturday or Sunday morning. Okay, these are your projects in Andhra, this is the status, and I believe you guys are slow in A, B, C, D, E. I tell them, because your team is going behind schedule. Because I said if I ground these projects, simply the amount of economic activity these projects will create, my GST will double. Simple logic. Is it important to do it? Absolutely. And do I need to take care of my farmers? Absolutely. No second thoughts. I can't just leave them high and dry. But I need to come up with innovative models. So for example, in farming, we grow commodities that is more required for India as a market. So there will be surplus. And that's where prices crash. We need to grow commodities that are required for the global market. We need to get global best practices. And we need to create the entire supply chain robust system that is required for it. And export our commodities. That's what we need to do. And only then can we create a resilient horticulture hub. This is exactly what we did. So we did this with banana. So banana is big in Andhra and we never exported pre-14. But then in our previous regime, we focused on it. We said export karenge. And now we are one of the largest exporters of banana in India. So I think there are models there. And we have to find innovative ways of doing it. Do they require a handholding? Absolutely. See, we have to accept the fact that there is still poverty in India. Then we have to give them a handout and we have to hold their hand. It's not just about paise de de mera kaam ho gaya. Nahi. How do you pull them out of the cycle of poverty? Education, opening their eyes up to what are the opportunities that Bharat offers. Only then can we bring the cycle out.
Andhra Pradesh has done well on poverty reduction, it has done well on healthcare, but not on literacy. Why is that?
So before I answer your second question, the first question is a very interesting question. I'm doing a history wall in our party office. So before the historian came, I was looking at data. So all of us like what? Chat GPT, Gemini, and we asked a lot of questions. So I was comparing HDI and per capita income of Andhra and Bihar in pre-TDP, so pre-1983. All of you will be surprised to know that Andhra's per capita income was not more than 12 to 15% higher than Bihar in 1982. So it took one Telugu Desam party to transform Andhra Pradesh. And that is what has made us, made Andhra Pradesh what it is today. Coming to literacy, last 5 years, that is between 19 and 24, there was zero focus on enrollment. There was zero focus on adult literacy. All of you will be shocked. In 2024, when the report came out, 24 report which came in 25, Andhra had the lowest literacy rate, lower than Bihar. We took up a mission mode. I am running India's largest adult literacy campaign. Completely digitized. Because I love technology. Everything has an app in Andhra. We created an app. We tracked. We'll use data effectively. Real-time governance again comes back. Where results will come out soon. We are already in the mid-tier. And I promised to Dharmendra Pradhanji that by 27 end, Andhra will be 100% literate. 100%. So on a mission mode, we can do it and we will do it. And that is the power of data.
On delimitation, so Chandrababu Naidu has actually supported the government on its proposal. The government is going to bring the bill again of increasing, doubling every state's share, maintaining the ratio. But Shashi Tharoor recently tweeted in response to your father's support to the bill, saying basically that, if your salary is 2 lakh and your driver's is 20,000, after a 50% increase for both, yours will be 3 lakh and your drivers will be 30,000. So the percentage or the proportional increase is the same, but aren't you going to be much better off than your driver after the increase? So how would you respond to those concerns that even with the same increase and keeping the same ratio, the southern states are going to be worse off than the northern states? And attached to that is your government has actually given incentives for having more children. That is also coming in this environment where there is a concern about population representation. But aren't you putting a burden, an unfair burden on families who find it even difficult to support 2 children, much less 3 and 4?
So to your first question on delimitation, again, all of us have to just go back to Article 81. Article 81 clearly stipulates that the number of seats will not increase, and based on 2026 census, delimitation will happen. So what all of them did was grave injustice to South India, because the amendment was meant to safeguard the interests of South. So I don't know where this logic came. 2, we are now 1.5 billion people. Some of our assembly constituencies, like my own assembly constituency has close to 300,000 voters. So there is unevenness in the size of an electoral constituency. It was also Pranab Mukherjee ji, if I'm right, who actually said that India actually needs 1,000 MPs. Because to represent the voice of the electorate effectively, be available to them, respond to them. 1.5 billion people. Do we need delimitation? Absolutely. Now this question is proportional representation. We obviously don't have the electoral college route, which is also debatable. So you win the popular vote, but you don't win the electoral college vote, which happened. Trump versus Secretary, President Trump versus Secretary Clinton election, this happened. So India has taken a parliamentary form, and as long as our humble view is that as long as proportional representation is maintained, I believe that the safeguards are there. Otherwise, Article 81 will kick in. Tamil Nadu, Kerala will lose 7 MP seats. Andhra will end up losing 3 MP seats. I think Telangana will end up losing 1 MP seat. And this will move to the most populous state, number one. The second part of your question about, we call it demographic management, population management. We should not look India with one lens, and that's a mistake we always do. We look at the macro number and say everything, sab kuch acha hai, or we don't need to intervene. But if you look at it, the replacement rate in Tamil Nadu, if I'm right, is around 1.4. Andhra is about 1.53. So we are below the replacement rate. Replacement rate is 2.1. Is there a mechanism that we should take care of the children? Absolutely, we have done that. We have done it. We have a program called Talliki Vandanam. As long as the children are in school system, we give 13,000 rupees per child per year. It supports the family. And we've done that. As a government, we've done it. It's proven, it's robust. One cycle over, second cycle in July. So Mr. Naidu, and this is not the first time Mr. Naidu has spoken about it. It was in 2018 that he said this problem is coming about, and we as a nation should be cognizant to it, and we have to create frameworks for it. So it had nothing to do with the political spectrum of delimitation. These were two independent decisions. It's just that they ended up getting bundled at the same time, and then it came about. So that's the view with which we are working as a state government.
The social media ban that you are proposing, Andhra Pradesh the government is mulling legislation which will, I think, have a ban under 13, a social media ban for children under 13, and then some age-appropriate content between 13 and 16. How difficult or easy, how far gone are you in the planning of this kind of legislation? Because there will be problems. There will be problems that have to do with state boundaries. I mean, does this policy end at the state boundary where one state begins and the other ends? There will be problems of age verification. There will be problems of, the cooperation between intermediaries and platforms. So you are looking at models. Australia has already done it, others like France, UK, and Singapore, I think, Denmark, they are all in different stages of proposing this kind of policy. Where are you at right now, and what are your concerns?
One, we have already held consultation with all the all the players, all the platform owners, and they've also made it very clear that children under the age of 13, according to their terms or conditions, as we might say, are not allowed. But of course, kids are exceptionally smart. They find ways of faking it and they'll get on the platform. So they want it under the age of 30. No second thoughts about it. As parents, do we want it? I think all of us should show of hands. How many of us believe that our kids under the age of 13 should not be on platforms? It's quite open and honest. We agree to it. We need safeguards. Age-appropriate content is very, very important. And that's where we have to use a framework where we can regulate it. You're absolutely right. It makes it exceptionally challenging for a state to do it. Because you're right, there's boundaries, there's VPN, there's so on and so forth. This is where we're working with Ashwini Vaishnavji to figure out, can we do this at a national level? And this is the conversation I'm already having with him, and quite a detailed one. So I'm sure soon you should hear about this. So this will enable India to protect its children much better.
I'll ask just one more question, then we can open it up to the audience. So Andhra Pradesh is the #1 state for international immigration. You have a large number of students and IT professionals who are particularly vulnerable to the Trump policies, the change in the immigration policies in the US. So what are you doing for those students? What kind of spaces do you think the government can open up for our young talent that now doesn't have a place to go, chasing the American dream?
If you look at it, quite a few of our children went to Europe as healthcare support workers. There are some who are going to different parts of Southeast Asia in the entire semiconductor industry. So we are opening up new avenues where our children can explore. And while we are having this debate about 3 languages, we are going about saying kids who want to learn Japanese, here is the ITA college or degree college, and kids who want to learn German, here's the opportunity. Because it opens up new boundaries, new opportunities for them, right? They can actually go. This is what I believe is the power, and this is something that we should use effectively as a nation. And we are quite cognizant of it. Yes, what's happening in the US, they become a lot more inward looking. And if you look at it, US was always built on immigration. The best and brightest minds across the world went to the US in search of opportunities, and they built US. It's a great melting pot. Now what will happen after 2 more years, I think? Let's watch. So I don't think we should be worried too much. We should do about what we do. While crisis is there, I also believe it's an opportunity. It opens up new boundaries, new countries for us to explore, countries that we never even evaluated. And that's the approach that Andhra Pradesh government has been taking for this problem.
In fact, I'll ask one more question before opening it up. So again, back to your ally, the BJP. One is, of course, what we talked about earlier, that the BJP right now looks predatory. It's trying to expand its parliamentary majority, perhaps because it wants to bring on constitutional amendments with greater ease, because this last amendment fell because they didn't have the numbers. So one, it is predatory. Two, it has that one nation thesis, that one nation, one election, one nation, one tax, one nation, one grid, one nation, one, everything. Does that not strike some kind of apprehension in your heart, given that you are a regional party, part of a federal setup, and in the name of administrative efficiency, economic efficiency, there is a certain kind of an undermining of democracy and diversity in this one nation thesis?
Already Andhra Pradesh's assembly and parliament elections are synchronized. So we are already in the one nation, one election cycle. So it's already happened in Andhra. We are already there, number one. Number two, is GST good? Absolutely. These are reforms that India needs. Does it put greater power in the federal dispensation? Yes, it does. No second thoughts about it. I'm not denying it. But at the same time, Karnataka is getting its money. So is Tamil Nadu. Before government changed in West Bengal, they got money. Whatever was due to them from GST, they got their money. So it's not that if really a federal government wanted to hold back and say, "Yaar, 3 mahine I'll not give you money," then it would be the case. But they've never done that. And that's not the spirit. See, please understand that with all fairness, BJP also understands that these South Indian states are also part of India and Bharat. So this discourse about North versus South, this fight, I don't believe in it. And this entire language thing, I mean, if you look at it, the way it was brought about, and they are trying to create a divide that, your own mother tongue is going to be destroyed, finished. It's unfounded. And parties that actually stood for it, look at what has happened today. So if we are a global economy, we are getting more and more integrated, we have to learn new languages, we have to build on that. That is important. So honestly, I don't see a challenge. The only challenge is that if we are complacent as a regional party, if we for 1 minute don't listen to the ground, then we're going to pay a price. As long as we are rooted, grounded, continue to understand the aspirations of the youth in Andhra Pradesh, Telugu Desam Party will have absolutely no problem.
We'll open it up to the audience questions, and after that, Anant will do his rapid fire with you. So, first, Shyam Garu, please ask your question.
Yeah, already I have a question. Shah mentioned value-based education. My question is cleared. Only one question. Mainly in AP, middle class families are suffering their children education. You have any ideology for that fear of middle class families?
I'm sorry, what was the second part? I was not clear.
Yeah, generally middle class families are suffering of their children's children education. So do you have any ideology for that family?
You have?
Ideology.
Ideas. Okay. So my strong belief is that if you look at the Nordic countries, everyone sends their children to a government school. Right? Why are we not building that kind of an ecosystem? So if you look at it, I've always taken this bold statement. I've made this bold statement in the assembly that there will come a day when government schools, not all to start off, but at least some will put, sorry, no admissions, school is full. And I had this weird problem in my own constituency the other day. So I've taken up a school and we have now systematically worked on improving. And we're doing this across state. Infrastructure is one part, but even the soft part, right? You'll be surprised, the other day one lady was having an argument with me, my voter. With all humility, she is my voter from Mangalgiri. And she had an argument with me that ki school full ho gaya, government school, why are you not taking my child? Give me a recommendation letter. I said, madam, I can't do it. I'm sorry, but the HM is a very tough lady. She has put a minor exam, your child has to pass. She said, no, I missed that. Then I said, agle saal, next year. She said, no. He said, you give my child a seat now. You'll be surprised, quite a few schools have that now in Andhra. Why have I done it? How have I done it? Point is, as a society, we glorify infrastructure, the hardware of a school. But we miss that a hardware without a software is useless. What is an iPhone without the iOS, yeah? Or what is Samsung without an Android operating system? Now what's the operating system here? Our teachers. So what I've done is I've instilled a sense of pride in my teachers, a sense of confidence. Today you won't believe, we are one of the very few states who have Teacher Transfer Act. Teacher transfers, there is zero political involvement in Andhra Pradesh. I got in that bold reform. I took it on me. We are the only state in India where we gave a front page ad where government school children who performed well, we gave an ad, again mind you, without any photo of the CM or myself. In our school there are no pictures of my CM or me or even my secretary. I said, I don't want your gyan here. No politics in schools. We gave a front page ad. And we have seen admissions improve after that. Funnily enough, we have seen admissions improve after that. And our children did a lot of programs, outreach programs to their own family, and we've done it. And that is the way. And that is very, very important for us to build as a state. So that is the way I look at education. It's very easy to simply say regulation is the solution for everything. But I honestly believe that governments are here to provide safeguards. And regulating everything is not the solution. So what has happened in the previous administration in my state is they started regulating, harassing higher education institutions. So what did that lead to? No one set up an university in 5 years of the previous government. 5 years. Today I'm proud to say BITS is putting up a quantum computing campus, a university in Amravati. We got it done. Like this, we are attracting world-class universities, ranging from Australia all the way to the US. You'll see a few more announcements happening. We need to bring in good quality institutions. We need to invest in research. That is very, very important. And it requires a lot of focus from us.
Ananya Mukherjee.
Hello. I wanted to ask you about higher education. What are the one or two big things that you're thinking, not only which universities are coming, but qualitatively, like you mentioned about school education, what is the focus?
My focus on higher education is that we need to move into research. There's a lot more work needs to be done. But the way we have approached it, in my humble view, is not correct. I have taken a more of a cluster approach in Andhra Pradesh, where I said the which cluster should focus on which sector. So we have a glass city, we have a space city, we have a drone city, we have a medical devices manufacturing city, we have a quantum, funnily enough we call it quantum village, no, quantum valley and quantum village. We've done that. Like this around 22 clusters, that's where I'm now working with higher ed institutions, both private sector and government, tying them up to the private sector, saying that, boss, let's get labs, centers of excellence, rapid prototyping research facilities. You fund chairs. And that is the mechanism that we are taking. And that is the way I believe that we can strengthen higher ed. One. Two, I don't know whether you've been following, but we have changed the entire hierarchy of higher ed in Andhra, where now we have Commissioner Higher Education who takes care of all the administrative stuff. Earlier, Apshi, who was in charge of everything, I said, all you need to do is academics. Academics. You need to come up with curriculum that 5 years from now is relevant, not something that was relevant 2 decades back or 2 decades ago. So that's the change we're doing in higher ed. So quantum. So we now have a minor in quantum as a state. We're doing a lot of work in AI, data, medical devices manufacturing. Material sciences is huge. So ArcelorMittal, as they're doing a plant, I spoke to Aditya. And Aditya, I said, boss, you have to do a materials, advanced materials university. And now, if you're following the news, we're doing the entire beach sand mining that's opening up with the rare earth minerals. Now, when I was in Russia recently and I worked with a few institutions there to come and do the entire research in our government university called Andhra University. We're now working on that. So tying the higher ed, both government, private sector, to the industry and what the industry really needs and where the government sees the next opportunities are is very, very critical. And that's the tight integration we're doing. And I'm also mandating a lot of things like facial recognition, B.Ed colleges, higher ed institutions. I said, as a state, we have fee reimbursement as a model. If I am paying for my children's education, I have right to know if they're coming or not. I think that's a very simple thing that I'm asking. So we're bringing about bold changes there. And if I'm right, we are the first and only state to have, again, thanks to RTG, to create an entire data set where I track a child progression from Anganwadi to lifelong learning. And I know who is dropping, at which point, and what is the intervention to be done, including predicting potential dropouts. So you're using technology to predict dropouts based on their family, socioeconomic status, so on and so forth, so that we ensure that no child is left behind. I understand there might be pressures. I understand. See, honestly, I never did well with the Indian testing system, but I did exceptionally well in the American system. So I'm good at critical analytical thinking. That's how that system tests, and I did that quite well. Similarly, some of them have pressures at home, so they can't pursue higher education immediately. They can go the vocational route. Today, lift mechanics are getting paid a lot more than an IT professional. So there are opportunities available out there. So I am now working with them. So we're creating vocational as a big focus area, like what Germany has done. So recently, all of you will be surprised, we just gave permission to a university in Sri City. Sri City is one of the most successful industrial estate in India. And there we're doing this program, and it's path-breaking, where it's going to be an internship where they'll come to campus, study 3 months, and then they go back to their job for 9 months. And then they come and again study. And we've already struck this. And I'm sure we'll crack this model. We need to crack this model, and this could be the way for India. But we can have a very long conversation about higher ed, because it's a lot deeper than what I can answer in 3 minutes.
Shivram, please ask your question.
Mr. Lokesh, I'm very happy the way you're progressing in the IT business in Andhra Pradesh. And also I'm happy, I'm a naval officer, that you're developing a defense corridor. As you're giving support to the IT, 99 paise land, would you consider offering the similar thing for the SMEs and MSMEs in the defense corridor?
So that's a very good question. Now, should I support SMEs? Absolutely, no second thought about it. That is why we have created, we are in the process of creating, because I think we have done 100 constituencies. Other 75 I'm working because I need to get land. Where every constituency will have an SME park. And the price at which that land is will be given it's very, very competitive. And no second thoughts about it, right? And this is the same thing. Again, see, it's not about bringing one company. I have to bring in all the ancillaries of that company. So for me, it was not just about bringing one Kia, but I got the guy who makes the bumper, the rear view mirror, the seat belt, the seat, the whole 9 yards. So we created the entire ecosystem in Anantapur. The same thing we're doing with AMCA. So we have various models, and our pricing to SMEs is something that no other state actually has. So we're very, very competitive in that sense. So rest assured, we will support SMEs. That is a singular focus. And our minister who's handling MSME is an NRA who came back and joined politics and became a minister. He's younger than I am. And the other day was talking to me, because I'm the chair of the group of ministers to create 20 lakh jobs, where he's talking about a deregulation where SMEs, non-polluting SMEs, do not need to apply for any permissions. They can start the project today and they'll be given a window of a year or two, where through a single portal they can get permissions. So that is the kind of transformation we really want to do to aid SMEs or MSMEs to really go about doing what they do best, creating jobs. That's the idea.
We'll take just one or two more questions from the audience. If you can raise your hands, and then we'll go to the rapid fire.
Yeah, ladies first.
The ladies, please. Yeah. Is there a mic?
Both of you can decide. I'm not going to decide between the two. Oops. Ma'am, after
Luck
that.
has
I promise
decided.
after that it will be you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sir, you'd spoken about the data centers. You already have at least 3 of them coming up in Andhra. So you would be having a 4 gigawatt capacity in Vizag alone. Now, the US has in fact put up a moratorium on units up to 20 megawatts. And here we have 6, almost 4 gigawatt only in Vizag. And I think there's also a possibility that it might be increased to 6 gigawatts. Now, my contention is, you mentioned about the Godavari example and how Godavari also, sends almost 3,000 TMCs in the Bay of Bengal. There's also a river called Hudson in US. I'm sure there are, rivers which are pouring a lot of water into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, my question is that, the environmental burden that it is going to put on Vizag and also the entire state is going to be humongous, because each unit is going to draw at least 1,000 megawatt, because 1 gigawatt will have 1,000 of megawatt of electricity demand. Secondly, you mentioned the thermal power plants. The thermal power plants also produce electricity and they lighten thousands and lakhs of homes. So we are comparing consumption with production, which is, I think, extremely unfair and illogical, if I may say so. So, how can we make these analogies, and are they fair to, is it fair to put so much of burden on the environment of Vizag and Andhra Pradesh, number one? Number two, don't you think that, there need to be disclosures about these memorandums that you're signing? They have been signed under non-disclosure agreements. Plus, I'm sorry to say, but the government is banning information sharing on social media about these data centers, pulling down posts that are critical of these data centers. Isn't it unfair in a democratic society? I want to...
Before you answer, ma'am, could you also say your name?
Yeah, I am Shikha Salaria. I work with India Broad. I'm a senior journalist with India Broad.
Perfect. Now, you've answered the question. You're saying it's fine to have a gigawatt of thermal power, but not a gigawatt of data center capacity. We've answered that. So we are saying that it's okay to have a gigawatt of thermal plant next to a village, which will consume 7 times more water, whilst we are not willing to have a gigawatt of compute capacity, which is going to get powered by renewable energy. Correct, so does renewable energy. Correct. Absolutely no second thoughts about it, but 1 gigawatt of thermal plant consumes 7 times more water than a data center, number one. That is based on current technology. And I have seen technology which is air cooled, which will not even take water. And the amount of energy consumption in data centers is also now starting to come down. Technology is moving fast. Saying that, I have water, I'm going to use it. I have renewable energy, I'm going to use it. So I was asked this question. And then today our phones, all of us are using ChatGPT, all of us are using Gemini. Let's stop using it. Then let's stop using our mobile phones. Coming to us, the ban that you spoke about. Am I going to ban fake news? Absolutely. The post that you are referring to spoke about that we took land from Dalits, which is absolutely false. It is absolutely unfounded. Show me one person who has property rights and we have taken land from them. Ma'am, ArcelorMittal power plant, ArcelorMittal steel plant, 3,000 acres, 660 dwellings had to be moved. Amicably done. We understand that there's an emotional attachment with land. We've done it. Amravati, 35,000 acres were pulled from the farmers. We understand the emotion involved in it. We handle it with a kid glove. But then, if certain outlets want to defame this administration and Vizag on a false narrative, on a fake news narrative, absolutely I will take action. Because I'm sorry, these outlets are not talking about data centers coming in Navi Mumbai. Why are they not talking about it? Why is it only about Vizag? Suddenly everyone's talking about Vizag data center. It feels like only Vizag is getting all the data centers. Data centers going to Hyderabad. There's already data centers in Chennai. And more are still going. There's data centers in Navi Mumbai. There's data centers in NCR region. But no one's talking about that. If you have all noticed, no one's talking about that. But there seems to be a campaign, I'm sorry, I truly believe that, there seems to be a campaign against the kind of investments that's coming into Vizag. Ma'am, if there is one farmer who has land right, and if you believe that we have not done justice to it, please bring it to my attention, I will do it. No second thoughts. We are that open as a state. My MP is there, my MLAs are there. See, we also want to get re-elected, no? End of the day, we want to get re-elected. Why will I go take land from a farmer just like that? Right? He is one vote lost, no? But will I allow fake narratives to go? Absolutely not. Why should I allow fake narratives? I have a right to say that this is fake. This is not right. If some people are going to promote violence on social media, do I have right to take action? Absolutely. If they're going to build fake narratives like this, I've taken. No, there are more videos. In fact, go back to Instagram. There are videos where young kids, some 10, 15 kids, who are talking about what they believe are the environmental impact that these data centers might have. Have those videos been removed? Absolutely not. Please look. We have not touched. They have right to express their opinion. This is India. We have Constitution of India. They have right to express their opinion. But that particular video you are referring to spoke about the fact that we took land from people and that we didn't give, which I think is, it is absolutely false. That's why the action. So technology is here, and to all the Indians in the room, see, please understand that data sovereignty is going to be a big problem. All of us are underestimating it. There are AI companies who are forced by their governments not to give their AI models to the rest of the world. It is a huge competitive advantage that is getting built. They are going to become growth engines for those countries. And if we don't build compute capacity, if we don't build cable landing station, if we don't build renewable energy capacity, if we don't build capacity to manufacture these servers, power electronics, all in our sovereign land, we are going to be hung dry. One fine morning, if a country says, no ChatGPT to India, no Gemini to India, imagine the competitive advantage that nation will have, and where will we be? This is something that our Prime Minister is very cognizant about, our Ashwini Vaishnavji is very cognizant about, of course my Chief Minister is very cognizant about. And our policy is 6 gigawatts. We will do 6. That's it. My CM is also very clear. 6 and not a megawatt more or megawatt less. Because we believe that is the sweet spot for our state. No, am I getting renewable energy? Absolutely. I have solar, wind, pump storage projects. I'm going to wheel that energy. One nation, one grid. US does not have one nation, one grid. So that's how we are very different. So it's very unfair to compare an American system to an Indian system. They are powering all those data centers using gas turbines. And that's what is creating all this mess. Whilst I'm bringing all the renewable energy, which is otherwise getting sold at 50 paisa, 30 paisa on the grid. I'm bringing that, putting battery energy storage, doing pump storage projects. That's what makes Andhra Pradesh very different.
Yeah,
So,
the
ma'am.
lady here, yeah.
You mentioned job creation. I would be interested in knowing this job creation, whether it is in the unorganized sector or it is in the highly specialized sectors or whether it is in the startups. That is one. Secondly, one was, maybe 5 years, 7 years, or could be longer. We spoke of the population bulge, and suddenly it became the population dividend. So what has led to this change? Economics is my subject, but I have not been able to understand what has led to this change.
So the first question is in which sectors or areas? Is it blue collar, white collar, or agriculture? Andhra is firing on all cylinders. So if you look at it, we are a peculiarly long state, post the bifurcation. We have the second longest coastline. So it lends itself up for a port-led economy. And the data centers again comes back because we have cable landing stations. We connect Southeast Asia. We have broken down into 22 clusters. Shipbuilding is a focus area. Agriculture, the horticulture mission is a big thrust area for Chief Minister coming from certain zone. Aqua is another. Sustainable aqua is another thrust area for us. Saying that I'm doing also quantum. So what we are doing in Andhra is across sectors, number one. Number two, I'm not as learned as you are, ma'am, but I look at India from 3 different lenses, and this has been a discussion happening, where we should not look India as one lens. We have an India which has per capita income equal to Mexico or higher, which is about 100 million population. Then you have about 200 million population, about 300 million population is very aspirational, more like a per capita income of Vietnam. But then you have 1 billion people who are under $1,000 per capita income. So that's the challenge. That's the real challenge for India. So what we've done as a state is that we've used different data sets and we said, okay, these are the families that require support. And that is the P4 mission that we're taking about, which is people, public, private partnership, where they have support the people who are less fortunate. Because all said and done, all the billionaires of India have achieved that because of the support of 1.5 billion Indians. If not for our data consumption or mobile consumption, Jio won't be what it is today. So Mukesh Bhai understands it totally and he's a great supporter of this. It is not a simple dole out. We are not here to write checks and say, boss, paise de de, kaam ho gaya. No. Hand holding. See, what happens is when people are in a cycle of poverty, they need a mechanism to be pulled out of poverty. And this happens. If you look at certain groups, right, they stop education in 10th grade and all of them become auto mechanics. Because why are you doing this? My brother did it. Or my father did it. That's all they know. So pulling them out of that cycle and saying that, nahi yaar, there's vocational, there's higher ed, padhao. These are the sectors, these are the opportunities, linking them up, really pulls them out of that cycle of poverty, and that is what we're doing in Andhra. Now, is there a problem of 1 billion people under a per capita income of $1,000? Absolutely. And there are certain states which are contributing more to that lower per capita income, some states less. But we all need to work together. And only when we create jobs is we can come out of this problem. So far, that's a good question. So, if you look at our investments that we have signed, in their true glory, which is the 100% capacity, they'll roughly create about 25 lakh jobs. I get confused between million and a lakh. So, one time, 25 lakh jobs based on all the investments currently that have come. So far, that is over the next 5 to 8 years. That 8 years.